injury over the last while. Given Coleman, Clark, Walters, Hendrick, Murphy, how concerned are you about those players a month out from the start of the tournament?
Yeah, I think it is a concern. A few players haven't played that much. I know that Wilson, who has been an integral part of proceedings, hasn't played for quite some considerable time. I think that, but I think he feels that he might get fit. I think he's going to. He's going to go and see a specialist again on Friday, but while he'll not play again obviously for Stoke, we'll have a little look at it. And there are a number of players, maybe not as far down the line as that, but even so, it's Hendrick hasn't played for a while, but he's just getting back, and he was sub the other day, and he also he played an under-21 game. So I think it is a concern, of course. You know, you'd like the players to be playing as often as possible. A couple of players like Seamus having a hamstring problem. Hopefully that will clear in time. But some of these things are just almost inevitable, and I'll just be guided by what happens in the next 10 days.
Yeah, do you think are any of them at risk of missing the tournament?
Well, I think there's a possibility, but again, I think that there's a little bit more time, and while we have to narrow the squad eventually down to 23, we'll give those players that bit of time. I think they deserve that.
Is the plan to bring all 35 players into the training camp for the Dutch game, then name the squad after the Dutch game, and just bring the 23?
I think I may narrow it down again, you know, and certainly have a couple of extra players with us, with the 23 in mind. One way or another, I think there'll be naturally be a bit of disappointment for one or two who won't make it, but that's the nature of the game.
A lot of the speculation over the last couple of days surrounded Scott Hogan, considering the goals he scored and the fact that Roy went to watch the game he was playing in at the weekend. Was there any possibility of him being in this squad?
He's done very well, and Roy was pretty impressed with him as well too. So we have a number. We have a number of players there who would be at this minute in front of him. He's coming back from injuries himself, but definitely he looks very, very good, and I think it might have been just a wee bit too early for this one, but certainly in mind, and I'd have a look at this. I thought about bringing him in, but then I left it at this minute. But yeah, he's done very well.
Is it fair to say, Martin, if you're not in this squad, you're not going to the European Championships?
A fairly decent chance, I would say, but you know, again, who knows what might happen at the weekend? We might pick up 3 or 4 injuries, draft a couple of people in, and if they do get that chance to join in training and the possibility of playing one of the 2 games, I mean, there's a fairly decent chance that I would announce the squad maybe just after the Dutch game. But it's not the Belarus game still gives you an hour or so afterwards if that was the case. That is always the concern, because I would rather leave it to the last possible moment and disappoint 1 or 2 rather than disappointing them early and then having to bring them back into the squad again, which is.
With your goalkeepers, it looks like simple 3 out of the 4 will go.
Yeah.
Usually 3 goalkeepers. So at the moment, how would you rate Shea Given's chances?
Well, Shea is back in full training now, and again, I'd be doubtful if he would participate in a game. I will have a look at that and see. And
Westwood will be involved in the playoffs?
Yeah, which is good news. That it keeps him going right up towards the end, and possibility of being in the final as well too. So that's good news.
We saw relegation last night. We saw John O'Shea's Sunderland staying up, but Norwich City and Newcastle going down, obviously. But for the Ireland players involved, like obviously a boost to O'Shea, but the Norwich City players, do you think they'll bring that? They could possibly bring that into the camp, that disappointment.
Well, but I think by the time that they do arrive in the camp, I'm not saying that they will have got over it that easily, but I think that I think it'll be a natural disappointment. Of course, you spent all last season trying to get up into the division, doing brilliantly, winning the big playoff games against local rivals Ipswich, then playing very well against Middlesbrough in the final, winning that, and you're thinking you're all set up for a really good season. Robbie comes and joins them, and life looks pretty rosy. And suddenly, over the course of the year, it's been really disappointing. So yeah, there will be certainly an element of disappointment around our players, but I think they'll just have to get over that.
And speaking of relegated clubs, Kevin Toner ended up playing 3 games for Aston Villa. Did he come into your thoughts at all? Is it too early?
I thought it was just a wee bit too early.
Can I ask you about the rumours of Roy Keane to Celtic? I know you've had to face this so often since you've been the manager, but betting has been suspended on that. Do you think you'll have him for the next campaign?
I wouldn't know, really. I certainly wouldn't know that. And anything can happen between now and the start of next season. Who can say? But and I think I've said to you before that if I think that Roy will want to go in and manage in his own right, make the decisions, which is important. He's been used to making a lot of decisions throughout his life, both as a player, captain, and as a manager. So I think this has been very, very good for him. Will he want to manage on his own again? Absolutely. No. And if an opportunity comes up, a really good opportunity, then I would wish him all the best.
But you know Celtic so well yourself, and what a big club it is. Do you think it would be a good fit for Roy?
Do I think it? Well, I think Celtic is one of the great clubs in the world, and I have to say that Keane is one of the great players in the world. So that's not a bad fit for a start. And I think could he do the job? I would have no problems with that whatsoever. Would he be capable of doing that? Absolutely. But I think, as Roy said, you still have to be asked to do it, and so far I'm not so sure that that's been the case. But I don't think that he would give things up here lightly, and I think that something would have to, as he often says, his favourite phrase, rock his boat. I think is what he says. But he has enjoyed it here. I think it's been good for him. But is he ready to go? Yeah, he could very well be.
He always says as well, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Have you thought about life after Roy in a Republic of Ireland context?
Well, up until a couple of years ago, Roy Keane wasn't really in my life, So, and I survived, I know I must have asked him for his advice when he was 3, but I'm sure that I will, if health allows me, I'm sure I will survive.
Martin, what's the latest with your own contract situation?
I don't know whether you were there, but we went through this not that very long ago, and John, I think, is in Mexico this minute.
FIFA conference, yeah.
FIFA. So I'm sure that we'll come to some sort of an agreement soon. So that's. I wouldn't. If you weren't there a couple of weeks ago, well, you missed it. You missed it. Honestly, there's no point in repetition. Although I think I might have a tape recorder of what was said. We'll go with it.
Just in terms of your squad, then, or you called up Calvin out, why exactly did you?
Well, I think that I thought that I went down to watch the under-21 games, down at the under-21 game against Italy, and I thought he did very, very well in the match. He followed it up with an excellent performance in the Paint Trophy final, as it were, for Oxford. I like him. I think he's got ability. Can he play higher? Absolutely. And just like the way I brought in young Jack Byrne, I think it would be nice for him to come in if that's the case, and just get a feel for the place, so that if and when he's ready to go, that he will not feel intimidated by anything.
You mentioned earlier that there's a few players who are currently injured that may miss out on place due to injury. Which player in particular are you most concerned about?
Well, I think that at this minute, the players who haven't played that much, I think that young Wilson would be in that category. I'll see how he goes, but I thought it's only right that I give him this opportunity. He's been a part of the squad throughout. He's been great for us as well too. Played very strongly in a number of matches, and I just wanted to give him that opportunity. Let's see how we go. The point I really probably want to stress is that I don't mind taking one or two players who that I think that, you know, might not have played that often in recent times, but I think that they're perfectly all right if that's the case. You know, you think about Daryl Murphy. I went to watch Ipswich there the other week and met Daryl at half time. I think Mick had said to him, just don't bother playing at the end of the season here. Get yourself properly fit and raring to go. So he hasn't played for a little while, and but I think hopefully things will be all right if that's the case. And but it was a chance for me to see McGoldrick, for instance, and play. Anyway, okay. So the point is this year, I don't mind one or two players that I think might not have played that much, but I can't go in with a group of players that haven't played that much, and I think that that's where I'd have to differentiate.
Just finally for me, John O'Shea hasn't played that much for someone who's not the place. Are you concerned with that?
Not particularly, no. I think that the two players, as John mentioned last night in his interview, the two players who've come in and have played together at Sunderland just in recent weeks have played exceptionally well. They've been very strong, and he hasn't played. And but no, I know what John can do.
Martin, just today Sweden have made a 23-man squad, Belgium 24. Our squad is obviously considerably bigger at this stage. What's your thinking in naming a larger group?
I just maybe want to keep them guessing, if that's the case, you know. So at least I now know their squads, so I can eliminate a number of players that I thought they may or may not have brought into the squads. It's not really. It's been what I've done, and I will obviously narrow it down. Everyone to their own. If they've named their squads now, that's entirely up to them. It's not been my way here for the last for my 2 odd years in charge, and it remains that way. So there was no other reason behind it.
Do you find that competition for places is kind of a good basis for things there?
I don't think it's a negative enemy. Let me put it this way. I think that I think sometimes the problem we've always had maybe 27, 28, 29 players coming in. There are usually 2 games when we've been playing in competitions within a few days of each other, and while 1 or 2 might not make a squad, for instance, for one of the games, we might pick up a couple of injuries. So at least you have to have the players training with you for a number of days, and that's as much to do. I don't think there's any phenomenal reasoning about it. It's the way it's been. It's the way I like it. I think your point's taken about competition for places, and I always feel as if the players are in there, they still think that they've got a chance of making the squad while they're training with us, and anything can happen. You know, you can pick up a couple of injuries in training, and then suddenly you've drafted in someone that you might not have thought but might have started one of the games, and there you go. And then it's up to him. The squad will narrow down a wee bit in the next number of days, but at this minute, just that's what I wanted to do.
Martin, when you look at Shea Gibbons' situation in particular,
You don't sound totally convinced, but don't worry. It was just the way you went there. Not a problem. It's my thinking, you know. It's,
I've just got
you
one
know.
of those faces.
No, but no, you haven't actually. No.
Martin, just on
No, the laugh should be on me. That's the point. No, it's my face, I think. Sorry.
Shea Gibbons, 40
Yeah.
now, has barely played a game in the last 9 months.
Yeah.
When you're looking at him as a possible, do you look at him slightly differently to other players considering the experience he has, and that you're bringing 3 goalkeepers, you're unlikely to need 3 goalkeepers?
Well, it's a possibility. Yeah, I think that I think you do look at his experience, and that is obviously something that he would have an advantage, maybe over the rest. In that sense, he's done it. But again, I think fitness for a goalkeeper is still very, very important. I will monitor it. He is in full training at this minute. I think I said this to you before, that being in full training and having someone have a few shots at you totally different to playing matches. I was hoping that really when he got this opportunity to get back into the team again, that he would maybe play between then and the end of the season. It wasn't to be because of his injury. That particular injury is cleared up. I'll have a look at it and see. His experience is certainly an advantage in that sense, but you still want players to be fit.
With players like Given and O'Shea not having played a huge amount of football, does that change your thinking for the two friendlies as to needing to give game time to certain players and also wanting to get your first choice starting 11 on the pitch at some stage?
Yeah, I think that those things I definitely would consider during the lead up to the first game against Holland. Once you get them into the squad, we'll probably arrive on the Sunday night beforehand, do a little bit of training on the Monday, get the players there, and then just have a look at it then. But I take your point entirely. I think that while you would like to have as many of your players play this game, we only have the 2 matches. And while you like some of the players won't have played for a little while, actually, as it turns out, 1 or 2 of our players might actually even miss the Dutch game because of if they arrive in the playoff final. So that obviously knocks into my thinking. So overall, it would be nice to have, what shall I say, a thought in your head. Those things change, and but overall I'm not that bothered.
If you were penciling in your starting 11 against Holland, would Harry Arter be high on your priorities because he missed the last 2 games? And I know he's someone that you're particularly interested in.
I think Harry's a very fine player. He hasn't played that much. He wanted to play. He wanted to give it as much time as possible. I think he has played now for Bournemouth. I think I might just go up to that game on Sunday, Manchester United, just to watch him again, see how he is. And young Roy Keane, I thought made a very decent impression when he played here in the friendly game. So have a look at that. He did want a bit of time. He thought that he would play towards the back end of the season, and he's a player that I think can do something. But again, it is a matter of fitness. He looks as if he's got through some of the games, and then I'll take everything else into consideration.
And finally for me, Robbie has been back on the score sheet again in the MLS. That must please you.
Yeah, I was just saying to Ian, I was watching the game last night, live, the game against Philadelphia. And it wasn't Robbie, but I did fall asleep, and it certainly wasn't him. And they were leading 2-1 at the time. It was about 56, 57 minutes, and I just couldn't stay awake because I had to get a pretty early flight this morning. And so they drew 2-2, but he's doing fine, and looks as if he's got over the injury anyway, which is encouraging.
Martin, is Seamus Coleman one of those players you'd be inclined to bring even if he doesn't play or isn't fit for the friendlies?
Yeah, I think that I'm hoping anyway, speaking to him, that by the time that the first friendly game comes along, that he will have had sufficient rest and the injury will have cleared up. I think so. But if he doesn't make the first game, I wouldn't be overly concerned about him. I think obviously he wants to play, he's ready, and I think that he's pretty well close to fitness now. So yeah, if he doesn't make the Dutch game, I would. If he wanted to play in the Belarus game, absolutely fine. But I'm not overly concerned with it.
Darren Gibson has returned to the Everton squad in recent weeks. Have you been pleasantly surprised to see him back featuring? Yes,
I have actually. Yes, I went to that game against Manchester United at Wembley, and was a wee bit surprised that a game of that importance that the manager chose to put him in from the start of the game as well too. And as the game progressed, he got better in the game. He played a sort of very deep-lying role, and but that certainly was encouraging when I probably thought that he wouldn't get a game at all. Really great, but I think he hasn't really looked back since the goal against Germany. I think that's given him enormous confidence. I can't just put it down to that, but certainly that must have given him an enormous boost. And this second part of the season, particularly the latter part of it, he's just been really excellent. and that's great news for us.